Let's stay. Pardon me while I adjust my... That's good for now. That expired 2 days ago. It smells fine. It smells like milk. So I'm going to make a gallon of yogurt. We got way too much milk with it. It's insane. I'm just going to save this container this time and put the yogurt back in here. It always seems to be a scramble to find enough containers to put all this milk, all this yogurt from all this milk. Hard to see, but on the bottom, second to bottom right, there's a yogurt, and it's under boil. You have to push it until it says boil, which it says right now. It'll boil quicker if you have a lid on it. What that's going to do is warm that up to 180 degrees to sterilize the milk, cast out any evil spirits or whatever you call it. You know, the bad stuff that makes you sick. Heal your pumpkin next. I'm wondering if it'll even fit on the heat pan. It's a close call, but I think it'll make it. I think I'm going to do, I'm going to cook most of this for puree, and then I think I'm going to take the top layer and dice it for like curry, because that's tasty. I like doing that. Ooh, yes. My daughter wants chocolate curry, or she gets these crazy ideas, but I could use it for that. So I think what I'll do, give this a rinse. It's been sitting for, just in case there's any like mold spores or whatever on there. It's been sitting on the counter for, I picked this in October. It was a little underripe, and it's just been kind of ripening on the shelf. So I still got a touch of green to it, but it's starting to soften up. So I think I'm just going to take like the top third off, dice that up for curries or whatever, and then the bottom I'm just going to flip over and cook for puree. You know, for like pumpkin bread, pumpkin pie. It's a little more than a third. Oh, look at that gold color. Where's all the seeds? Oh, come on. I wanted to grow more of this. Oh, that's disappointing. No seeds. No seeds. They did not develop. A bunch of like underdeveloped seeds in here. I'm bummed. I was like, I want like 10 more of these. And I'm like, okay, I'll just plant some when I killed her pumpkin. Well. That's a sweet smelling flesh though. If I can find my baller. Where's my mini baller? Could not find my bar. My stuff keeps getting moved around. Oh well. Oh no. Use a dull spoon. Because it'll hurt more, cousin. No seeds. No seeds. Put down some paper so it doesn't taste like aluminum. Turn the oven on too. Get away like 350. And then I'm gonna add some water to the pan here. Just kind of keep it from getting all dried out and burnt. That'll kind of just steam off the pumpkin a little bit too. Having the shell down will kind of trap that moisture inside, keep it nice and juicy. And this will also help form a seal down at the bottom, keep that moisture in. If I have a good 1/4 inch of water sitting on the bottom of the pan there. New soap. Smells like lilacs. More water still. Big pan. The best way to peel this is probably sections. It's got these very deep rivets in it. Wonder if this method would be easier. I think it is. Yeah, that's the way to do it. I'm really happy with how this pumpkin came out. It looks so sweet and juicy. I hate when I get like a bitter pumpkin, because one year I grew jack-o'-lantern pumpkins and they just kind of mixed with everything the next year. But those don't taste very good, so I'm kind of trying to breed those out. Pretty lazy affair when it comes to the pumpkin breeding. You know, if it's tasty, I throw the seeds back out there, let them do their thing. They're not so tasty, I try to stomp them out. But, you know, natural selection and prolific genes have a way of surviving, so. And then when the apocalypse rolls around, at least I'll have some bitter pumpkins to eat, because they're strong. They survive. That's a good pumpkin. I went to cash carry this week. I picked up 75 pounds of gluten-free flours. I got brown rice flour, millet flour, and tapioca starch. I cut out early last night. I didn't mean to. My phone kind of died because I thought I had plugged in, but it wasn't. Speaking of which, make sure it's actually plugged in there. I think it is. But my rolls turned out pretty good. They're a little firm for hamburger buns. I just did a basic all-purpose loaf. So I want to work on my bun game, figure out what I got to do to soften those up a little bit, you know. Adjust the flours, you know, maybe a little more tapioca or a little less millet or something. But I'm going to toy with it. Things are getting better. They're getting better all the time. Compost buckets are full out there. The cold weather has really slowed down the breakdown of some of this stuff. So I gotta get creative with how I can keep cramming stuff out there. We'll figure it out. I should do a garden video one of these days. Show you what's happening outside my kitchen. You can't even see what I'm doing here, can you? Let's swing this way for a little bit. Enough of my face. Potato. Imagine if I put you down here, you could see both. Sort of. Get some of this stuff out of the way. Just plug back in. Okay. Nope, I can't have my cake and eat it too. Can't be plugged in and filming, can I? Stupid Amazon charger. Yeah, I still can't see my face. Okay, whatever. Whatever. You're probably wondering how I got on the subject of compost. There's this pile of scraps here. It's quite large. Yeah, I could do some bokashi. Well, sort of like a week. Maybe like a weak version of bokashi where I can just take all these scraps, throw them in a bucket, and add a handful of dirt from the forest. Not just crummy dirt that has no life in it. Go find some dirt that's alive. That just crawl into mycelium and bugs and bacteria and really just good dirt, you know what I mean? Throw a handful of dirt in there and let it do its thing for a while. Most of them in here until I bring them outside. moist. Ooh, there's a dollar in there. Warm up a little bit. Ideally, you want your pieces to all be about the same size, so that way they cook at about the same rate, and that way you don't have a bunch of pieces that are undercooked or overcooked. Some of these are a little squishier than others. Cool. Nope. Fudge. Sorry about that. Pan's warmed up. 350-degree oven. That'll do. Set that over here for a second. Uniformities all over the place. Papa. Maybe just a teeny tiny bit more curry powder. This one's got a bit of a kick, so I want to go kind of light. So my kids will actually eat it. Curry. Dang it. Yeah, just trying not to get my hands all messy, but whatever. It's nothing a few hundred degrees won't fix. And into the oven with those. Okay. Stuff out. Probably brew a batch of kombucha today too. This one's getting, actually, I could wait. I could take most of it out, let it get really acidic, and then after a week or so, when it's super acidic, I'll brew another batch. It's helped subdue the mold. It's something to drink out of. We used to have mold issues. That's why I stopped doing sourdough for a while. Sourdough got moldy, kombucha got moldy. The one new trick I learned to keep your kombucha from getting moldy is because what I used to do is I used to leave the last like 20% in there and then add the new tea to it almost immediately after transferring it. But what I did the last couple times is I let that bottom sit in there and get super, super acidic. And then I added fresh tea. So I'm just going to let this rest for a week or so. Get it really, really sharp. And then we can brew batch tea next week. That wasn't around the house. Picked up a cash carry for like $1. So it's gonna be easier. I think the 4-ounce ladle's easier. Just gotta pour slowly. Yeah, it's fine. Just gonna put it in some flip-top bottles. It'll actually get a little carbonated. And in a little while, I'll eventually get really anal about this and start tracking the pH, and time and temperature, and dating everything, and measuring the sugar levels with a hygrometer, whatever. This batch is pretty good. I caramelized my sugar before I brewed the tea. That's not hard to do. You just add sugar to a dry pot. Just let it melt on the low heat. And keep an eye, make sure it doesn't burn, but let it turn brown. When you like the color brown it is, you add your water. And then you have a more caramely flavored kombucha. So I'm kind of sorry I haven't documented all of this. I've been trying to do everything, or like document everything, but sometimes life's a little crazy. Which, if anyone watched last night's episode, you would be well aware of. And when I lose my patience for this process, I'll get the wand out and start rapidly filling the bottles with a siphon. Yeah, I've taken it that far. I've kind of regressed back to hobby stage of kombucha. And I was bordering on, toying with the idea of selling it. I know people that tell me it's pretty good and they'd pay money for it, but it's really not that hard. Not that hard to make this stuff. Okay. I might, over the next day or two, before it gets too acidic, take a couple swigs off this. But I think that last bottom bit I'm going to let get really, really sharp. And that'll protect my next batch from mold. Alright, next up we gotta make some bread. So, I think last time we were toying with chia seeds and stuff. I'm just going to go back to basics because I have a new flour working. So saying, I went to Cash and Carry and I picked up millet flour, rice flour, and what was the other one? Millet, brown rice, and tapioca. So we're gonna land up here for a bit, get kind of a downward angle. And I brought home some buckets from work to put all this stuff in. So I got tapioca. Okay. Oh, I need my recipe. My friend Tammy gave me this recipe. She's been doing this a good while. I'm going to multiply it by 3. Some of these loaves come out kind of small, so I want it to like really fill the loaf pan. So I'm going to do multiply times 3. Oh dear, I need a tablespoon. The worst one with my hands. That looks pretty clean. So this is active dry yeast. There are different types of yeast, and they don't all have the same potency. If someone's really curious about that, just shoot me a message. I can send you a... You know what? There's Google out there. Just look it up for yeast conversion ratios. It's not that hard. Oh boy. I am going to need more yeast. 3 tablespoons exactly. Or I can switch to the sourdough. We need 3 cups of warm water. Need to run the dishwasher. Everything's dirty. Dirty Paul's kitchen. Make sure the yogurt's working here. Oh yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. So this water can get pretty warm. Tap water is probably not going to kill your yeast. I think like between like above like 120 damages it. I think it dies at like 140. I want to say. I don't know I'm doing warm water. It doesn't. The warmer your water is too, the quicker it's gonna rise. I think I might add some cold water after I let this rest a moment. Everything is dirty. Dirty Paul's kitchen. one more cup of water. I think it's called fluid out of it. I kind of like the slow going. I'm in a no hurry here. But if you are in a hurry, put your oven on warm, which would get your oven to about like 175 degrees. Turn it off, leave it open for a couple minutes. So, because like I said, you don't want this bread to be too warm. Ideal proofing is going to be, I want to say like about 110, something like that. But closer to warmth, the better. Too hot, your yeast start getting damaged and dying. Yogurt, eggs. I need 6 eggs. That's a lot of eggs. So, if this works, what's going to happen on my next batch is I'm going to save some money on eggs by substituting chia seeds. And to do that, what I'm going to do is soak, I'm going to have to check my notes, but I want to say it's an ounce of water to 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. Something like that. I'll double check. Or you can Google it if you're really inquisitive. But it's not hard to do. I'm actually going to... One thing I didn't think about when I did my earlier loaves is I should grind up the chia seeds because you can actually digest them that way. They just kind of go right through you if you leave them whole. And the bread will probably look more appealing that way. My whisks are dirty too. That's okay. I don't need a whisk. Caveman whisk. Actually, cavemen actually had better whisks than this. It's sort of insulting. And being Caucasian, I actually have anywhere between 1% and 4% Neanderthal genes, so I find that offensive. But it's okay, because I'm part Neanderthal. I can make fun of it. Right? That's how it works. Alright. Oil. A 1/4 cup of oil multiplied by 3. It's going to give us 3/4 cups of oil, which I have back here. Time to open up another bottle of olive oil. Now, Tammy uses avocado oil, put in parentheses, or other. But oil is oil. Oil is flavor. But you could use whatever kind of oil you wanted. Personally, I don't like canola oil, soybean oil, any of that garbage. I mean, you could use bacon fat, I imagine. Might taste kind of bacony. But it's your bread, do what you want with it. I need 3/4 cup of sugar. And I switch to this organic sugar so I can be like hippier than now. It may not be any better, but I feel better than you. Come on, get 3/4. I'm gonna go 3 cups of millet. And like I said, further down the road, I'm gonna start refining this. I'm gonna convert to weights because I'm not just gonna make 2 loaves. I'm gonna make 10 loaves. But for now, I'm just gonna follow her recipe, figure out what I'm doing, and then I'm gonna I guess the scientific term is a control. I'm going to start with a control, and then I'm going to start experimenting. So that's 1. Ooh, dang it. 2. 3 millet. Millet kind of reminds me of like semolina flour, really. Tapioca is powdery as all powder can be, and looks like cornstarch almost, which it basically is, but not from corn. But this stuff is volatile. It's just one wrong move, your kitchen is covered in this stuff. That boom. Start stirring this. Getting it all mixed in. I'm hoping this bread has more structure than the other stuff that's always collapsing on me. It's cute. Oh, it's in my eyes. Here we go. Third. Okay, oh, our yogurt is hollering. Why did it? Oh, it actually pressurized. That's insane. Okay. Guess we gotta let it come down, huh? Okay. Yogurt is at 350, or not 350. That means it's about 180 degrees. Several times I've verified it just to make sure with my thermometer. But I can trust it. It's been reliable every time. take this, set it on a cooling rack. The elevation off that'll help air flow underneath it, help it cool quicker. Anyway, it's over there. Where were we? Brown rice flour. Where's my bucket? I'm trying to get this where you can see it. Ah, grossicles. Just got that movie. Be done. Anyway, let's put it up here. I have a big bucket of. It doesn't come in buckets, by the way. It comes in bags. So I brought home all these miscellaneous buckets from work that we get feta cheese and peanut butter and pickles in, or hard-boiled eggs. Gross. I mean, they're gross if you buy them in a bucket. But anyway, if you don't have access to buckets, and plus it might just make your life easier if you just go get a 5-gallon one at Home Depot, because this doesn't quite fit a 25-pound sack of brown rice flour. So 3 cups each. Where was I? 3 cups. This is number 2. But you could probably easily fit each bag in a 5-gallon bucket. No problem. I actually got a good deal. They were on sale at Cash and Carry. Normally these bags are like 25 bucks a piece, which is about $1 per pound. Some of them were like 19 bucks on sale this week. But buying in bulk's good. You can get Namaste is what I've been using at Costco, but that's about 10 bucks for a 5-pound bag. So it's more than double the price. So this bread is half the price of the old stuff. And even the old stuff, when I was making bread we justified buying a bread maker because it was like 70 bucks on what's that? This ain't right. It keeps stirring. 70 bucks on Amazon. But at 7 bucks a loaf, that's what we were paying on. We were paying like 7 bucks a loaf for bread at the store for this teeny tiny loaf, and it was cheaper to make even using the Costco stuff. We were saving money with our bread maker, so that's 3 tablespoons of salt. See if that brings it together. So this is even cheaper, so about half the price. I'm trying to think of what... once I do it by weight, I can tell you the price per loaf of bread. But especially when you start making 10 loaves at a time, or however you can fit in your oven, that's definitely going to... definitely going to save yourself some time too. Sorry, I'm rambling. I'm thinking about what I'm doing. What's missing here. So we got oil, milk, flour, xanthan gum, and of course the salt. Most bread recipes add the salt last because salt sort of inhibits the yeast. So having it far from your yeast is a good start. I'm not sure if this is 100% correct here. It looks a little thin, but from what I know about gluten-free flours, that's kind of what it seems like. So I want to make sure I stir it up well, make sure every last little granule of flour, little morsel of flour is mixed in, not hiding any dryness from us. Yeah, it's starting to tighten up. It's starting to look like dough. I'm going to let it double in the bowl. I'm going to double proof it. So I'm going to let it double in the bowl. And then I'm going to punch it, which isn't necessarily a little punch, but it just means I'm going to like squish it, kind of fold it real quick. It's like a brief kneading. What that's going to do is it's going to redistribute the gases. It's going to give the yeast access to new sugars it wasn't really rubbing up against before. And that'll help utilize all the sugars in there and give it some fuel to rise again. And also, of course, it's developing flavor. That yeast is going to eat more of the sugars, pumping out some more flavors. That's why sourdough has so much flavor too, is that long fermentation. So, I'm gonna wrap that up. I'm not worried about it drying out. It's too wet. So, I mean, I think it's too wet. We'll see. Put that. So yogurt, I want to cool down to about 120 degrees so it doesn't kill our culture. I think 115 is what the instructions say. And then I'm going to add some yogurt to it. I hope we have live culture this time. Some sheep's milk yogurt. Looking for that contains live cultures thing. It says probiotic cultures. We better have probiotic cultures. Alright, let that rise somewhere warm. Even, it doesn't even have to be somewhere warm. Anyway, I'm just going to set it over here. Squish. I just feel like we crank the temperature up a bit on there. Okay, I'm going to give that 15 minutes. Let it go rest. So my pumpkin is soft here. I realized I didn't put any brown sugar on it. That's what's missing. A touch of sweetness. And flushing. There it is. I'm going to crank it up to 400 for a second because it's already soft, but I want to get a little more color on it. Sprinkle of that. It really goes with all the spices. Oops. Bread's slowly getting improved. I bet our yogurt isn't quite there yet. I'm going to set a 5-minute timer on our squash. Close enough, something like that. Get cleaned up in here. Get all tidied up, and then got some other stuff. I'm just going to check the temperature on this real quick. See where we're at. It's at about 138. And go ahead and remove the skin. We want that. Let our dough go a little longer too. Welcome back. So our loaf is definitely double in size here. So I'm gonna proof and shape it all. Set this away real quick. Somewhere. Kitchen. Set these pans. I'm using coconut oil for this stage. I don't know really which works better. This reminds me of the Crisco my mom would use to grease pans when I was a kid. Crisco. Someday my kids will roll their eyes at the things I served them that I thought was healthy. Up. Oh, should get you a pie for this one. I got my dishwasher running, so it's like, yeah. See that? So I can't see the screen because of the glare of the sun, but a little water on the skin helps from sticking. Yeah. However, not so much when it's proofed. Sticky. Just gonna use the spatula. This is a little different with gluten though. A little more ceremonious. Just gonna plop it in there, I guess. The water has sucked up a lot of the excess moisture. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. The starches have soaked up a lot of the excess moisture. This bread's not as dry as it was. pumpkin cubes are done. They taste all right. Okay. A little water so I can pat these down without them sticking to me. It's very interesting. This dough does act differently than the namaste. And it fills up. It really fills up the loaf pan. And I have to be careful not to let it go over. Flour does make a difference. Alright, I'm gonna go wash my hands because they're all. Here we are again. I'm gonna cover them. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll cover them so I don't get too crusty. Also, too, when I bake them, I'm gonna throw a bowl of water in the oven, kind of keep them steaming a little. These actually double, being all the trouble. That pumpkin is ready. Well, it's ready to be checked, I should say. Curry came out okay. See if it's soft. Oh yeah. Whew. It's a soft. Not that cool. And then we'll put it in the Robocoup, or the food processor. Give it a whip. Freeze it. Yum yum. Yeah, it's bake time. So I forgot about my yogurt for a bit. It's about 100 degrees. We're gonna go back over to Instant Pot. Hello, Instant Pot. And I am setting it for 24 hours. I think we just let it go. Yeah. Yeah, just like that. So that's going to incubate for 24 hours. Oh, you know what? It's going to need something. It's going to need culture. About a quarter cup of this. Get it started. That would have made for a really nasty surprise.
Daddy.
Alright. These are at 208. Certainly done. It's a good looking loaf. And look at that. And I'm wondering whether or not it's going to collapse, because the Namaste flour will collapse on you. But these are really sturdy looking loaves. And here's another one. Really good. You got shoes on now? It's a wonderful loaf.